Okay, we are ready to start editing this page, and so here's the things we need to change. Top left corner, it says Untitled Site, and that's kind of a file name for your project, so let's type in a new one here. When I click away, it's going to use that for the web page name as well, but you don't have to have a match. So I'm going to click in here and select that. We'll type in something else. Okay, right here for the page title, I'm just going to put that there. I can choose to use the title controls to give it a different font size, but title's a good option here. You can change the alignment to left, right, center, or justified. You can add a link in there, or you can trash it with the delete button. There's blue handles here on the edges, which let you stretch the title out if you need more space. And so one thing I can do is stretch that out and then align it to the left side there. So I'll just set my title up like that. The header area has a couple of options too. You can choose a header type, and you can do a larger banner, or you can do just a title by itself, which would look like that. You can also choose to change it to an image from one of the background options here like this. And it tries to adjust it for readability, and sometimes it darkens the text or the background to make it look nicer. I'm just going to reset and go with the default settings. Okay, down here's the content area. This is where you add material to your website. So you add things from this area here, the Insert tab. So we've got text box and images. Those are the two primary options that we'll use. So I'm going to add a text box. And right here I'm going to start by using the heading. So we'll say this is section 1. And underneath that, it's going to go back to normal text. You've got your formatting options here. And I'm just going to put in some dummy text to fill up the space. Okay, so that's what section 1 looks like. I'm going to add 2 more sections and show you some options there. All right, I've got my 3 sections here. What we can do is I can take this little textured tab on the left, and I can use that to drag and drop the sections, so you can reorder them if you want to. So that's pretty easy. You can also use the paint palette button here to change the background of each section. So I could have one have a gray background or a blue background. Another thing that I can do is I can click in here and I can make the width a little more narrow, so it takes up half the page. And then on this other section here, if I grab this textured button at the top, I can drag that into the empty space there. And so now I've got 2 columns and then a 3rd section at the bottom. All right. So another way to use that space is to shorten up a section, and then in this section I can add an image. So I'll click Images up here, and I'll do a search. I'll choose this image, I'll click Select, and then what I'm going to do is just drag it up to that box so it takes up that space there. Okay, so maybe we'll add some color to that section there. All right, so what if I want to add a second page? I'm going to go up to Pages, and I've already got my home page there, which I can rename if I want to, but I'm just going to click this button to add a new page, and we'll call this Interactive Elements, because on this new page, I'm going to add a Google map and a calendar that the users can sort of move around with and interact with. So I'm going to go back and change the header here. Right now it's defaulted to the title only, but I'm going to add the banner back in. And then to keep it consistent with the front page, we'll stretch this out. And we'll align this on the left, like so. Okay, down in this section, we'll go back to our Insert tab, and this time I'm going to insert a calendar. When I click that, it accesses my Google Calendar and sees how many different calendars I have access to. And so some of these are my own, some of these are some ones I've subscribed to. Here's the district calendar. I'm just going to click that and choose Insert. And I have the handles here if I need to resize that, but that is how that's going to look. And then next to that, I'm going to insert a Google map. And as an example, I'm just going to type in Stanwood, Washington. and select it. And there it is. I'm going to drag this up to this bar so it's next to it. And what's cool about these is that the user can interact with these maps. So let me do a preview and you can see how this works. Okay, so as a user, I could move the map around and zoom in on it. And it's a live Google map, just like that. Over here on the calendar, I can scroll through. I can click on items and get details. I can switch to a different month. So it's really handy to have these kinds of interactive elements on the website. Also notice, since I added a second page, up here there's a navigation bar, so I can switch back and forth between the home page and the interactive elements page. Down on the bottom right, there's the preview button that lets you see how it looks on a tablet or on a phone. And so that's a great thing to sort of scroll through and check and make sure it still looks nice, even when it's laid out on a different device. If you're looking at it on the phone view, the navigation bar is tucked away in this menu, and so then you can switch pages like that. Okay, we'll go back to the computer view and we'll X out of the preview with this X button down here. Okay, a couple more things you can add. Down here we'll add a YouTube video. And so we'll look up a YouTube video. And we'll choose one and select it. And that shows up right there. When I preview this, I can go down to the video. I can click play. And it plays right there in the window. It doesn't have to go to YouTube. And that works for most videos. So we'll X out of that. I'm going to add a third page here. We'll call this one Documents. Click Done. And on this third page, I'm going to insert some of these Google documents just to show how this works. So I can choose Docs. It gives me a list of my Google Docs. I'll scroll down and find one that we can use here. And I'll click Insert. And the document shows up like an interactive item here. I'll add another one underneath here. This time we'll add a Google Slides slideshow. And the third thing I'll add here is a Google form. And so I insert the form. And let me, let's see, we'll drag this one up to that spot there. I'll just demonstrate how these work on the preview mode. So if a user comes to your site and you've got these documents here, as long as they have permission to see it, so it's, a publicly available document, they can scroll down through this, or they can click the Open button, and it will open in Google Docs. Same thing with the slides, but right here you can actually click through the slides and watch the slideshow right here on your website. Over here on a Google form, a person can look at the website and actually answer the form, type in all their answers, and submit the form right from your website. It's all embedded right there, and it's fully functional for the user to use. Okay, so that is kind of the basics of how to do that. Now I want to show you how the themes look different once we have these different elements added to the page. So we'll go back to the home page. Once I'm on a theme and I change the different colors, you'll see that it changes more than just the top color here. It changes some of the background images and the color of the text. Different themes have different things that change. So you can try those out and see what looks good to you. And remember, you can change also the font style as well, and that affects the entire website. Okay, so Google Sites, since it's been updated, is super easy to use. You can really quickly add some neat features to your website.